These next videos are going to be a little bit shorter, but I hope that they'll be just as helpful when you're starting to think about how do I deal with this information that I've gathered. So part 3, data reduction and visualization, deals with some strategies for making your data that you've gathered manageable. That means taking what you have, distilling it down into some manageable parts, reducing it to manageable parts, and then articulating those findings, representing that data effectively and ethically to a target audience for a specific rhetorical purpose. So there are several ways that we can take qualitative data, like the stuff that we're gathering, and make it more meaningful. First, you have a framing analysis, which allows you to kind of examine the data in the context of the questions that you've posed to begin with. So if you have a specific research question that is targeted at understanding, how cover designs influence purchases of books, you will eliminate any data that does not directly address that question or a sub-question that leads in that direction. So you can very easily look at your question, look at the data. Does this data relate meaningfully to the question I'm trying to answer? So that's framing analysis. Structural coding allows you to kind of organize the data according to theme. So if I'm looking at a book cover again, I can take a look at graphic elements of design, spatial elements of design, and textual elements of design. And by looking at those 3 basic general elements of design, I can organize aspects of the book covers that I'm analyzing in the realm of the graphic, the spatial, and the textual. I can also talk to people who may have designed these kinds of documents before and ask them about how those elements come into play. Also, I could identify frequencies. That is usually helpful when you're dealing with qualitative questions in surveys or interviews. People will ramble. Even my videos that I make about this class, I sometimes will go on a tangent or an explanation that might not necessarily be directly relevant to what I'm talking about, and I'm aware of that. It's the way we interact with each other as human beings. So, as a researcher, you have the luxury of taking a look at a transcript of an interview or the qualitative questions that are asked in a survey, and you can take a look at those responses and you can say, what are some common ideas that come up again and again? This will help me identify passages in the interviews and passages in the qualitative surveys that are directly relevant to what I'm talking about, and that it would be really helpful as a researcher. So identifying frequencies. If things come up more and more and more, some studies might actually even use like a word cloud to demonstrate that. But if you have the same ideas or the same concepts coming up again and again, it says this is important. We should probably look at it. And then finally, data visualization. You can take often this qualitative data, whether it be the Likert scale that's actually quantifiable or looking at frequencies, and you can actually create a table or a chart or a graph that actually represents that information. And when you're doing that, you're not only doing it just for your audience's benefit so that they can see where these similarities or where these trends lie, but you're also doing it for yourself because then you see the data in a new way too. So data visualization can help you understand what's important, and it will also help your audience understand what's important. So those are just some basic data reduction tools that you can use to kind of help zoom in on what's important. Now, creating effective data visuals, I already have a video that's discussing that, so I'm going to leave that for another time, and you're going to actually have 2 videos under part 3 that will include this video, and then the one immediately below it, which will talk about ethics of data visuals. And so that should be an interesting video for you to watch as well. You can go ahead and view that on the course blog. It will most likely be directly under this video on the same page. So there you go. I told you this one would be short. So happy writing, happy watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Post general questions again in the general inquiry box, or email me directly if you have specific questions about your own work. How to do this, for example.